Hi, I'm Scott. Welcome back to Synth Stuff. Today we're going to talk a little bit about binaural sounds. Coming up next. So traditionally, binaural recording entailed the use of a head, usually like a foam head or something that represented a human head, and they would put microphones where the ears go, and you'd walk around holding this head, and you would get, ideally, a recording that is exactly what your ears would hear if you were in the place where the recording was being done. The idea then is that you would listen to the recording on headphones. The sound in the real world would move around and interact with the fake head as if it was a human head, and the resulting sound going into the microphones would be exactly what your ears would be hearing, so that when that exact sound is piped into your ears via headphones, the idea is that you feel as if you're there. So when you hear something like a bug buzzing past you, you would feel as if you were there because your ears would be telling you, hey, there's a bug that just went past me, because it's receiving that information that you would have received were you actually there when the recording was made. As an example of this is a binaural recording that I made probably a couple years ago. I was walking through a forest at night, and there's a whole bunch of bugs, and I just thought it was an amazing sound, so I made this recording. Before we go any further, if you are watching this video and not wearing headphones, I recommend you pause now, put some headphones on, and then click continue. What I wanted there was to be able to gain the sense of having these bugs around you in every direction, just singing and doing their thing. And I actually used that recording as part of a song later on. I listened to the bugs, and I could hear them kind of doing a rhythm, and I derived a rhythm from that and wrote the song around it. So that's not the type of binaural we're talking about when we get to synthesizers, however. The most recent binaural synthesizer is the UDO Super 6. Now, the idea is that it produces completely separate sounds in both channels that mix together. So you might have 6 voices here and 6 voices here that are all producing the same sound, but a little bit differently. And so those sounds are kept completely separate. They reach your ears, and your brain then says, wow, I'm in a room hearing this. And because of the way it's produced and you're getting slightly different information, it gives you a strange sensation of width and presence. Now, the Super 6 is actually made for that. It has a full stereo path all the way through. Other synthesizers don't. However, bitimbral synthesizers with dual outputs can simulate this. And I have 2 of those. The first one is the Novation Summit, and the second one is the Hydrasynth Deluxe sitting right here behind me. Now, I actually demonstrate this on the Novation Summit on my Novation Summit review video, which I will put a link to down below. I'm actually going to show that here as part of this video, so you get an idea just of how I do it and what it sounds like on the Summit. And then once we've seen that, I'm going to repeat the experiment on the Hydrasynth and see what it sounds like on that. Now, the one trick that I thought was really kind of cool is you can actually do binaural sounds like an UDO Super 6, where you can have separate identical versions of the same sound coming out of each channel. The way you do that is by going into your output routing. So part A, we're going to put out main. Part B, we're going to put out the auxiliary. And then what we're going to do, so we're going to switch the plugs. So one channel goes into the left on the main, and the other channel goes on the left on the aux. So now if we go into a multi-sound, I'm going to have each half of the sound coming out of one channel. So in fact, I'm going to have, because this is a split sound, I'm going to have one half on left side and the other half on the right side. That's cool. We're in multi-patch mode. We'll go into the A, which is we'll just pick C127. And then for part B, we're going to also pick that same sound. So now we've got the same sound loaded in the left and the right. So if I play a note and it's layered, so you're going to hear both A and B playing the same sound on each channel. But you'll notice, because it's not the same sound, because you've actually got two separate synthesizers playing that same sound, and one synthesizer is playing to each channel, you get a really strong binaural. If you're wearing headphones, or if you have headphones, I suggest you put them on to hear this. It's a really cool trick that creates just amazing sounds. Okay, so that was the Summit. Now let's have a look at the Hydrosynth. Now Hydrosynth I've set up exactly the same way. I've taken one of the plugs from the main and put it in the auxiliary. Now let's have a listen to the Hydrasynth. I've got the sounds from the lower patch going to one channel and from the upper patch going to the other channel. I'm going to put my headphones on here because I need to be able to hear what I'm playing. So you can hear the plucky sound on the right side and kind of the pad sound on the left. All right, so now I've set up the Hydrasynth to work the exact same way. I've taken the same patch. I took patch, what was it? Twilight ET, just one of the presets. I just picked it random because it had kind of a neat sound to it. I've loaded it into both the lower and the upper. Now, if they were exactly the same, you aren't going to get much of an effect. So I did just tweak a little bit. Because this patch has some macros, I just kind of tweaked the macros for one of them just a little bit to make it different from the other side. So we should have just slightly different sounds coming out of both sides, but it is an interesting effect. So you have to admit, it is kind of a cool effect. You get this whirling sound all around you, and you can actually make it kind of random, so you have just things flitting from side to side. It's something you can't do on a synthesizer that has either a monotimbral. You have to have bitimbral capability, and you have to be able to direct the outputs separately. So you could do it with a montage, for instance. You could take a montage and load the sounds into different parts of the montage performance, and then direct those out to the separate outputs. So if you have a synthesizer that has multiple outputs and you can direct different sounds, or the same sound, more importantly, to those different outputs, then this is really something that's for you. I hope you like what you saw here today. If you think it's useful, go ahead, click like, subscribe, tell your friends, leave a comment down below. I read them all. I really appreciate all the interest and support the channel's been getting of late. Thanks for watching.